Now, before I get into the actual topic of this video, about 10 minutes, well, yeah, about like 30 to 40 minutes ago, I woke up from a nap. So my brain might not be able to actually think properly when it comes to doing this video, filming this video. There we go. But we'll see whether this video actually gets recorded. Earlier, I was doing research on the evil eye in other cultures and how it differs from other cultures. And it also had me thinking about my shadow work series that I started apparently 5 years ago. So while I was originally thinking I should look over that series to see if my thoughts on shadow work has changed in general, adding on to the information I got from doing research on the evil eye, I think I've came up with one of the greatest ways of explaining why shadow work is very important to do generally. Before I get into explaining that bit, I do have to do a bit of a recap and an update. The recap is what I classify shadow work as, which is the practice of becoming aware of and integrating one's shadow bits. Shadow bits as in the parts of yourself that you specifically choose isn't you, or the parts of yourself that ends up getting shamed by society, that you start to ignore/neglect yourself. Now for the updates, which is just one major thing, and that is from a specific video I did where I was talking about shadow work and self-care. In that video specifically, I was talking about how self-care within doing shadow work is mainly the concept of eliminating or lessening one's stress and anxieties, while also taking precautionary or preventative measures in order to keep the anxiety and stress low to none. And while I don't completely disagree with that bit, I think adding on to the fact that it's not just for preventative measures, for eliminating or lessening one's stress and anxiety, but learning how to properly handle it. Sometimes that just means working through something while also feeling stress or anxiety. And other times it's knowing when to just sit and rest or not immediately act on impulse. And now we can get on to why shadow work in and of itself is, in my opinion, so important. The general consensus, or at least the way that I'm thinking about it, is the concept of taming one's demons. If you don't like the idea of you having demons, either because you are extremely religious or extremely atheist, then we can think about it as subconscious systems in your head that run on autopilot. They were specifically there to keep you safe during a stressful and or traumatic time in your life. Because it still fits the idea, if those things aren't brought to your awareness, they will only continue to run and possibly ruin your life. Now, the best example that I will use is one that I believe almost everyone can relate to some extent, and that is jealousy and envy. People tend to be jealous or envious of others for what they perceive they have over them. Even though, again, the perception here is that you don't have the capability of getting what they have because, well, they have it, obviously. So, jealousy and envy are essentially emotions. Not good emotions, not bad emotions, because personally, when it comes to emotions, I don't think there are good or bad ones. Because, like, when you talk about bad emotions, it makes people feel shame for having those emotions in the first place. Like, you can't be having bad emotions. When in actuality, like, emotions themselves are only messengers of the actual thing at hand and should not be judged otherwise. Such a long-winded way of saying it's a normal thing that happens and shouldn't be shamed. But no, the thing people are typically trying to shame is how you handle those emotions, either by hurting others or hurting yourself. Now, by hurting others, I typically mean the concept of toxic codependency. Basically, the thought of I need them to help me or they have to help me. Like it is their job to help me. Or the concept of the evil eye, subconsciously praying for a person's downfall or being angry/frustrated that a person you perceive to be above you isn't helping you. Right, one of the things that I learned when I did research about the evil eye is the fact that in some cultures they do believe that a person can send evil eye energy subconsciously or without intending on doing so. And ever since having to deal with that information, I've never been mentally the same. And by hurting yourself, I'm talking about the concept of hyper-independency, or what I classified as toxic independence. By pushing yourself too far to obtain what might not actually matter to you or make you satisfied in the long term, often leading to the concept of tunnel vision. Basically, it's the more harmful version of keep your eyes on the prize, where nothing else matters to you but reaching that goal. And you're no longer aware of whether you're actually hurting people in order to reach that goal or not. Everything else gets put aside and is secondary to the goal, even one's personal morals, apparently. And if left unhandled, those feelings start acting more like demons, running and potentially ruining your life. It's even worse, and especially without awareness. So shadow work in and of itself is becoming aware of those things that have the potential to run and or ruin your life without you having a choice in the matter. And it is the practice of integrating, of becoming aware of, accepting and integrating those parts of yourself that you just decided isn't you or is typically shamed and often ostracized. With awareness, you're able to check in and choose for yourself. So you start having more control over your own reactions or whether you actually react or not. So without the shadow work, you would essentially be creating messes that you might not even be aware of because you're so focused on getting things that you think would actually help you and could actually potentially help you, but you will never truly be satisfied with. And while it does force you to take your time, so you won't really get to where you want to be when you want to be, and essentially takes away your ability to control the speed at which you progress. How do you say that word again? I think it's better that you take your time. Like that is about it, actually. So this is the third time I've tried to film this video and having to deal with actually getting to the end of it. Well, actually getting to the end of the list that I had makes me feel tired again. Anyway, I've been Toki Uzuru, aka Toki. What? Right, one of the things that I realized messed me up while I was watching back my videos on shadow work, outside of the fact that the shadow work series started with me wearing makeup and I just chose not to wear makeup or as much makeup, and now I just don't I don't want to. Right, the second thing is I keep getting lost when it comes to doing intros and outros of my videos because those tend to change depending on what my channel name was at the time. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified of whenever I post, and put any type of questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos in the comments section down below. With all that being said, I've been your local internet friend, aka Toki, saying I am tired. Toki out.